Okay, awesome. Okay, so we are back. Sorry, I have to cut this into 15-minute increments. That's all my little screen capture software will let me do. So, carnivores. Okay, we were talking about carnivores. Carnivores are consumers who eat exclusively other consumers. They do not eat plants, do not eat producers. Since carnivores do not eat producers, they will never be primary consumers. Okay, we talked about herbivores are often primary consumers since they are the first consumers in our food chain. Our sun hits our plants, the plants get eaten by our consumers. So our butterfly right here, or our deer, they're our primary consumers. Carnivores will never be primary consumers since they do not eat producers. Instead, they can be secondary consumers. So we got primary, where's my camera? Good. Primary and secondary, or they can be what we call tertiary consumers if they eat the secondary. So secondary consumers are those who eat primary consumers. So the deer is our primary consumer, and a secondary consumer would be the bear in this case. Or our primary consumer is this chipmunk, and our secondary consumer would be the bear. Tertiary consumers are those who eat the secondary consumers. So we got primary, secondary, and tertiary. Tertiary is the word for three, so remember that. Tricycle, T-R-I-T-E-R, it's kind of how the Latin got switched around. So tertiary is the third in that chain. They're the ones who eat the secondary consumers. So do we have an example here? Maybe. We'll check that in just a little bit. Okay. So carnivores get the short stick when it comes to energy. Okay. They're the one who get our hand-me-downs. So most of the sun's energy, like we said, goes to our producers. They keep a good chunk of it for their own growth. Then the primary consumers eat those producers. They keep a chunk of it for their own growth. And then the secondary consumers are our carnivores. They're the ones who get the short stick. So there's the most amount of energy lost between the sun and our carnivores. Okay? The carnivores get very little of the energy from the sun initially. So you're probably wondering, well, they're so big, they must need the bear needs a lot of energy to move around. Or think of an elephant. An elephant needs a ton of energy in order to grow and function. And if so much energy is lost along the way, how do they get that energy? So at least two life forms have already, okay, so this is how that works. At least two life forms have already used, quote unquote, used the sun's energy by the time that energy transforms to the carnivore. So there's little left, okay? The grass used some of that energy to grow and to spread its seeds. The deer used some of that energy to run and to eat and to live and to function. So there's not a lot of energy left over for the bear when it gets to him, when he eats the deer and steals that chemical energy from the deer. So that's the problem with carnivores. They need a lot of energy. They need to eat a lot of food to make up for the fact that they're not getting a ton of energy from that. So carnivores are far away from the sun's energy. That is why That is why carnivores tend to require more food than other life forms. Okay? They tend to require more food. They tend to need to eat more because that energy that they're getting has been lost, and they need to replace that. So some life forms are designed for both. Okay, they can be both carnivores and herbivores. They can eat both plants and they can eat other consumers as well. For example, this bear. Look, the bear can eat the deer or he can eat the berries and the flowers. You see bears eating fish a lot, but then they also eat berries. They see them eating plants. Some other examples. Let's see. Pigs. Okay, pigs will eat. They'll eat grains, and then they'll also eat insects and other animals like that. Same with chickens. Chickens will eat insects. Like this guy, this grouse is a great example. The grouse will eat the berries and the flowers, but he'll also eat the butterfly, the insects. So he's not an herbivore because he's eating other consumers, but he's also not a carnivore because he's eating producers. Some animals are designed to eat both consumers and producers. Okay, the bear, the grouse, and you. Okay, you're the same way. This bear and this grouse can kind of dip from both things. So can you. Okay, human beings have been designed and have evolved to eat both plants and animals. These we call omnivores, okay? Omni meaning all. They eat all things. They have the bodies designed for all types of plant and animal food. And you've probably noticed this when you eat, okay? Your back molars, your strong teeth in the back of your jaw are perfect for eating meat. They're strong to rip apart animal meat. Whereas your front teeth, these things right up here in the front, are probably best designed for fruits or grains. Okay, so we've evolved to eat that as well. We are omnivores by nature. Some people choose to be herbivores and only eat vegetables, and that's a good choice because we're designed to eat vegetables. But the argument that we shouldn't eat meat because we're not designed to eat meat doesn't hold up, because our biology tells us we have the enzymes we need to eat meat. We have the physiology, the teeth we need to eat meat. So we are biologically designed to be omnivores, just like bears and just like this grouse, chickens, pigs, all those animals, they're omnivores. Now, omnivores can be primary consumers who eat the producers, they can be secondary consumers who eat other consumers, or they can be tertiary consumers as well. They can go found all the way in that food chain. Okay, so a good example I have for this about the energy lost in this food chain. Okay, so who wants pizza, right? So let's talk about pizzas first and foremost. I'll move my recording down here, or my webcam. So what kind of pizza? Vegan, vegetarian pizza? Those exist, right? You have to use a special kind of cheese to avoid eating meat. It's just a veggie pizza. Meat lovers pizza. Okay, now technically it's tough to get a pizza that's all animal products, with the crust and with the tomatoes. But let's just pretend for this example that our pizza is exclusively made out of meat. So what kind of life form would want a vegan, vegetarian pizza? So why don't you pause the video right now, and you guys can discuss as a class and see if it would be a herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore. Okay. Good. Okay, hopefully you guys had a chance to talk about that. If you thought an herbivore or maybe an omnivore, you would be right. Okay, herbivore would eat strictly vegetarian or plant-based foods. All right, perfect. So an example there is our squirrel. Okay, a squirrel is an herbivore who eats exclusively plant-based foods. Maybe he would like that vegan pizza. All right, what kind would want the meat lovers pizza? Okay, what kind of animal? An herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore? So go ahead and pause one more time and discuss this. Okay, perfect. Hopefully you guys decided that the best type of life form to eat the meat lovers pizza is going to be your carnivore or maybe an omnivore. Okay, those who eat all types of foods and those who eat exclusively animals or other consumers will want the meat lovers pizza. Perfect. And there's our lion right there. Sorry if this is a gross picture for you, but I thought it was pretty sweet. This lion right here is using its strong teeth to just rip apart the meat off this carcass. He is a carnivore. He's designed to eat meat, and that's where he gets his energy. He needs to eat a lot of it because a lot of that energy has been lost along that chain. Okay, so here we go. Who wants pizza? So I like picking on my 10th period class, so I decided to share a pizza with the 4 students from that 10th period class to kind of demonstrate how energy is lost between the sun and other consumers, okay, our carnivores like that. So Jordan, Rachel, Sophie, and Devin, okay? You guys are probably watching this. I hope you guys enjoy your pizza, okay? So the entire pizza that I sketched out right here really crudely in about 5 minutes on PowerPoint represents, so when we get the door, we got a pizza. This whole pizza represents energy from the sun, okay? It's the entire bit of energy from the sun. That's the whole pizza right there. It's the energy from the sun. We all get that energy. And let's say Jordan is the first one to get the door and to get the pizza. He's got that whole thing to himself. Now, just like some life forms, he's going to take a little for himself and then pass it on to the next person. So let's see if my animation works right here. So we're going to see Jordan. He's going to go and grab himself a slice of pizza and scurry on out of here. And there you go. There's a slice missing that Jordan took. Okay, so he's going to pass that pizza on to Rachel. Okay, so Rachel, Hobbs over here, she's going to grab a slice for herself as well. And here we go. There she goes and grabs it and scurries on out of here. Now there's another slice missing from that pizza. Okay, Sophie. Okay, Sophie's turn to grab herself a slice of pizza. She's going to go and grab one as well and head on back. Now we've got 3 slices. Looks like she took one from this half of the pizza. Maybe this was the Hawaiian side and the pepperoni side, and she's into the Hawaiian stuff. Okay, so now it's Devin's turn. Okay, Devin's going to get himself a slice as well. So there he goes. Grabs a slice and runs on out of there. Okay, so the pizza got smaller as it went through the students because each student took some of the pizza for themselves. And so now we're left with just 2 slices. So me and the rest of the class just get those hand-me-downs. There's only 2 slices left. So most of the pizza, or if we're using it in terms of science, most of the energy from those life forms went to the first few students, okay? So just like in nature, Some end up with the hand-me-downs, and others are able to get all of the energy that they need. So here's our example right here. I might just turn off the webcam for now so you guys can see this. So Jordan was our producer in this example. So the sun's energy came in this whole big pizza. He was the first one to the door, and he got the pizza for himself. So right here was able to just take energy straight from the source. He got the full pizza. He was our producer, okay? Just like they capture energy from the sun and have all that energy, Jordan is able to get the whole pizza for himself. He takes a little off the top, passes it on to Emma, okay? Or was it Emma, or was it, oh, that was Rachel. Maybe I screwed this up. Yeah, Rachel, okay? So I wrote Emma, I don't know where that came from. Pretend that says Rachel. So Rachel's our primary consumer, okay? So she's the first one to get dibs to that after Jordan, the producer, already got his shot. So the primary consumer, remember, is the one who consumes the producer. So they get just a little less energy than the producer gets because Jordan needs some of that pizza for himself in order to grow, in order to live. Okay, Sophie is able to get gets an even smaller pizza to choose from because she's the secondary consumer. Jordan and Rachel already had to get their shares before Sophie got hers. And then Devin is, of course, our tertiary consumer. Okay, he's the one who consumes the secondary consumer, who consumes the primary consumer, who consumes the producer, who gets his energy from the sun, or I guess in our case, the pizza boy. So hopefully that makes sense. The amount of energy that life forms have slowly and slowly decreases as time goes on. So we can draw that in the context of a food pyramid right here, okay? So here's our food pyramid, and at the base of the pyramid, again, we have our producers, and the bigger the chunk of the pyramid we have, where's my camera? Yeah, the bigger the chunk of the pyramid we have is the more energy, and as the pyramid goes up towards its tip, the amount of energy in those life forms just gets less and less and less. So most of the sun's energy is found right here in these producers. And then the producers need some of it to grow and to make their fruit and their berries. And so the energy gets passed on to these animals. There's less energy, so they need to eat more of these foods than the foods. They're not passing on 100% of their energy. And then these up here, these secondary consumers, require even more food to sustain themselves because they don't get enough energy from those producers right there. Okay, so energy is lost starting from the base, our producers, and it's slowly being lost as it's moving up towards the consumers. So energy just is constantly moving up in that direction. Okay. Why is that? Okay, because producers and consumers need their own energy to function. Okay. Jordan needs a slice of pizza in order to keep himself from getting too hungry so he can't pass on the whole thing to his classmates. Rachel needs some as well, so does Sophie, and so does Devin. And so with that, the amount of pizza just gets less and less as it goes down the chain. So that is important as well. Okay, our food pyramid. Remember, energy is not created or destroyed. It's merely transformed or transferred from one form to another form.